Hello everyone. I hope you are doing all okay. I hope you are doing fine. This is another lesson. Before we start explaining this, the course, I'd like to remind you of what we saw or what we spoke about last time. The course of last time was about reception and more particularly about reception. We spoke about the techniques, how to be a good receptionist, and the pieces of advice to abide by in order to be a successful receptionist and to occupy and to keep the reputation, your reputation in the company, which means the hotel. In this course, we're going to see, as you can see clearly the title, handling guest complaints at hotels or restaurants. So you are working in a restaurant or a hotel, and a lot of clients and customers complain. It means that they have problems, they have situations which they don't understand, or sometimes they don't desire or like something. So in this lesson, we're going to see some techniques and also again tips or pieces of advice uh, to handle and manage the complaints of the guests. So as you can see the image, by the way, I like to analyze images, and for example, this image in front of you, the receptionist it's like he's fed up with complaints of clients, and as you can see, there are a lot of people surrounding him. Uh, okay, most of them they don't like the service maybe, or they have got misunderstandings with him. So there is a problem, or there are problems. So the receptionist, not specifically a receptionist who is supposed to have uh, complaints by the guests or customers, but also other workers inside the company, which is the hotel or the restaurant, especially in high class companies. So here are some ways to manage and to handle complaints. Number one, mind setup. Two, using polite language. Three, proper listening. Four, remaining calm. Five, showing sympathy. Six, apology. Seven, never blame others. Eight, no accuse or no excuse, or whatever. We're going to see the explanations. Nine, not try to make your guest wrong. 10, and finally, try to be honest. So these are, of course, there are other million ways to handle complaints, but I have chosen, or I have opted for 10, which we're going to discuss in details. Okay, mind setup. Setting up your mind is important. Keep good faith to help customers. It has been said that customer is the boss, or customer is always right. Or I can say also the customer is the king. Okay, as we say, and expression. Try to be professional and handle each complaint with professionally or in a professional manner. A complaint indicates that there must be some loopholes in your service, and this is to be learned. So when you set up your mind, it's like you automate your mind. It means calm down, don't get nervous, and try to accept the critiques other people give you, because not all the customers or the clients can be satisfied by our service, but we may be criticized by them. So the critiques, or the people who criticize us, it's not always negative. The opposite, we should learn from our mistakes, because nobody is perfect. It's okay. Two, using polite language. Use of polite language is the most important aspect of handling any verbal or written complaint. While you are handling any written complaint, then you need to be sure enough about what you are writing, careful about each word, and make sure any of the word does not give a wrong meaning. Be professional and try to explain your point of view about the problem. So the language, I emphasize, I focus on the language. There are a lot of people who are very professional, but they don't use polite language, or maybe they get anxious and nervous, okay, so quickly, but they are not successful. However, we can find somebody who is not that professional, but he or she uses polite language and they are successful. Why? Because the customer or the client is to be faced with politeness. Okay, so always try to choose your words carefully when dealing with complaint by the customer or by the client. Number three, proper listening. If you don't listen complaints properly, then you cannot explain properly. So to give logical replies on guest complaints, listen fully. Let your guest express his feelings first, then take your time, make your points, and after finishing his part, start explaining. This is very logical. Sometimes you find some people speaking, okay, the client is complaining, and the receptionist or somebody working in the restaurant speaking at the same time. No, no, and no. The client, as we said, is the boss, so we should give him or her full time. We should be excellent listeners because this is our problem. We have we have 1 month, sorry, we have one mouth and we have two ears. So the wisdom behind this, okay, is to listen more than we speak. So when somebody is speaking, we listen. And when the speaker finishes, then we can express ourselves and try to handle the situation. Number four, remaining calm. You may often find it difficult to remain calm to handle complaints, but you have to be that. Just think in a logical way. It is your duty to react professionally. But yes, if guest becomes so aggressive that security measures need to be taken, then don't hesitate. So your part is to be calm and try to handle the complaint in a very professional and calm way. I confess, there are some people who get nervous quickly, maybe people smoking, maybe people drinking, I don't know. So it depends on everybody's circumstances. But when we are working in a hotel or restaurant, there is a professional place where we should control ourselves and be calm. If the customer or the client becomes aggressive, then call or try to call your supervisor to handle the situation. If not, try to call the security guards to handle the situation simply. So do not try to overreact. Okay, this is it. Yes. Number five, showing sympathy. Start with sympathetic words and expressions is the most advisable way to handle any complaints. Guest will start feeling that you understand his feelings and you are very careful about him. Some catchy words and phrases can easily turn the hot and aggressive situation into a cool and friendly atmosphere. That's right. Sometimes clients or customers they come with okay, nervous and they try to shout. Okay, I don't know. It depends on every situation. But as I said in the last course, a receptionist or a worker in general in a professional atmosphere is a doctor, which means what? You should give some medicine to your client. Okay, metaphorically speaking, of course, here, to be sympathetic and give some sweet and catchy and impressive words to the client or the customer is for sure the right medicine, okay, to calm him or her down. Number six, seeking apology. Whoever does the mistake, apology first. This does not mean that you agree on the complaint makes by the guest or okay, normally made by the guest. It means that you feel sorry only for the reason that guest is not satisfied with your service. After apology, you can easily defend yourself. So sometimes you don't commit the mistake, but you apologize. And apologizing does not mean you are wrong. Apologizing does not mean and it does not mean you failed in your mission. Apologizing does not mean you are weak. The opposite. On the contrary, my friends, apology means that you are strong. Apology, when you apologize, it means that you have a certain level of education and you are mature enough to handle the situation. So you show apology or you apologize, and then after that you defend yourself in a very professional and smart way. 6. Never blame the others. Never blame others or other department. In spite of blaming others, taking responsibility on your shoulders if possible to handle the complaints or call the proper person to deal with the situation, but do not finish your job by just blaming others. So this tip complains the previous one, which is seek an apology. Try to assume responsibility. And assuming responsibility, as I said, does not mean you are weak. On the opposite. For example, you are working with a colleague and your friend commits a mistake, but you try to assume responsibility on his behalf. So then you are a strong man, you are a strong person. Why? Because you try to handle a complaint for which you are not responsible simply. It's okay. And by this, you are going to be notable by department or by the company you are working for. And of course, these techniques get you promoted, and sometimes you get higher salary, financially speaking. Number 8, no excuse. Never excuse. No guest will love to pay to listen at your excuses. There are some common excuses like today we are short of staffs, we are very busy, etc. Excusing is not the proper approach, rather try to explain. If you are short of staffs, explain it and show possible ways to solve it. So just to make a difference between excuse and apology, you apologize when the client or the customer complains, and you try to apologize, and later you defend yourself. But for the excuse, it has to do with the components or the elements you've got inside the company you are working for, be it a restaurant or a hotel. Sometimes the client asks or orders something which you don't have at the time. So what must be done is simply to tell him, to tell him, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'll bring you right now. Please give me just a few minutes. While you bring what the client or the customer asks for or orders. So always be polite. So as you can see, all these elements or tips or pieces of advice, politeness is the key to handle a complaint made by the customer or the client. 9, never blame others. Never blame others or other department in spite of blaming others. Take responsibility on your shoulder if possible to handle the complaints or call the proper person to deal with the situation, but do not finish your job by just blaming others. This is repeated. I'm sorry I didn't pay much particular attention. 10 and the last, be honest. Be honest within yourself. Never give any promise which you cannot maintain. Also, do take follow-up steps. Whenever a guest comes to you with any complaint, then responsibility puts on your shoulder. Even you are not engaged with the complaint, but you have to take regular follow-up. Try to be honest first with yourself and then with the others. Because when you are honest with yourself, you try. It's like you are making a constant and continuous checkup. What's wrong with me? Am I speaking polite? Am I wearing professional clothes? Am I talking to my friends and colleagues nicely? So you try to reform yourself by yourself. And when you reform yourself by yourself, you are likely and for sure, certainly, to be a successful person and worker.
Unit 14.
So this is the last.
What is there to complain about?
It was the last
1.
part in the lesson.
We asked you to reserve a parking space, but the car park attendant says the car park's full.
We've got a set.
I'm sorry. We overbooked the car park yesterday and today. I'll reserve you a space for tomorrow.
Listen in. What is there to complain about? Listen to the complaints and watch and match
Excuse me, we ordered our drinks 20 minutes ago.
We've got there.
I'm sorry, madam. I'll be with you in a moment. The restaurant is short-staffed tonight.
1
I'll
car
check
park,
with the wine waiter.
2 restaurant, 3 rooms, 4 stay.
3.
5 message.
We reserved adjoining rooms, but these are on different floors.
D,
I'm sorry.
E, on
I'll change your rooms straight away.
2, listen again.
4.
Okay, so it's the same voice note
This steak is really
for the 2
overcooked.
exercises.
I asked for it medium rare.
2, listen again and
I'm sorry, sir. I'll speak to the chef and bring you another one.
We asked you, okay, 1, we asked you
5.
to reserve parking space. 2, we
A
ordered
colleague
our
left a
drinks
message
20
for
minutes
me
ago.
at reception
3,
last
we
night,
reserved
but
adjoining
nobody
rooms.
gave it to
4,
me.
this steak is
I'm
really
so
overcooked.
sorry.
5,
I'll look
colleague
into
left
it.
a message at reception last night. A, I'll check with the wine waiter.
Unit 14.
B, I'm sorry, I'll
look
your
into
room
it for
straight away.
you.
C, I'll reserve
1.
you a space for tomorrow. D, I'm
Excuse
so sorry.
me, this beer is flat.
E,
I'm
I'll
sorry,
speak
sir.
to the chef
I'll get you
chef
another.
and bring you another one. So,
2.
here you go for the listener.
My room isn't ready.
I'll send up someone from housekeeping straight away.
1. We
3.
asked you to reserve a parking space, but the car
The
park
people in the
attendant says
room
the
next
car
door
parks-
are making a lot of noise.
I'm sorry. I'll look into it for you.
4.
Excuse me? This fish is undercooked.
We ordered our
I'm
drinks
sorry,
20
madam.
minutes ago.
I'll talk to the chef and bring you
sorry,
another.
madam. I'll be with you in a moment.
5.
The restaurant is short-staffed tonight.
Excuse
I'll
me.
check with the wine
This
waiter.
table is too small. There are 6 of us.
I'm sorry. I'll change your table straight
We
away.
reserved adjoining rooms, but these are on different floors.
6.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me,
I'll
this
change your
fork
rooms
is
straight
dirty.
away.
I'm so sorry. I'll get you a clean one.
4. This steak is really overcooked. I asked for it medium rare.
I'm sorry, sir. I'll speak to the chef and bring you another one.
5.
A colleague left a message for me at reception last night, but nobody gave it to me.
I'm so sorry. I'll look into it.
So this is the listening for exercise 1 and exercise 2. Listening, I look into it. I'll look into it for you. Listen to the complaints and fill in the table. So there are 6 problems, and for every problem there is a reaction or an action or a solution. Okay. So the number 1 is already done for you. The problem is beer fat, and the action get you another. So listen carefully and complete the table.
Unit 14. I'll look into it for you. 1.
Excuse me, this beer is flat.
I'm sorry, sir. I'll get you another.
2.
My room isn't ready.
I'll send up someone from housekeeping straight away.
3.
The people in the room next door are making a lot of noise.
I'm sorry. I'll look into it for you.
4.
Excuse me? This fish is undercooked.
I'm sorry, madam. I'll talk to the chef and bring you another.
5.
Excuse me. This table is too small. There are 6 of us.
I'm sorry. I'll change your table straight away.
6.
Excuse me, this fork is dirty.
I'm so sorry. I'll get you a clean one.
Okay. The last part is for the written. In this part, you are asked to do 2 tasks. You are required to do mini tasks. The first one says summarize the lesson in a paragraph. 2. Imagine you are working in a restaurant and a misunderstanding happens between you and a client. What would be your reaction? What you are supposed to do? How would you manage the situation? So imagine yourself in this situation and try to write your reaction, and try to benefit from the tips we have explained before. Okay. So this is the end for this course. I hope you enjoyed the course. Of course, as usual, if you've got any question or remarks or suggestions, you are most welcome to contact me. And something else, okay, again, stay safe, stay home, take much care of yourselves, much love.